It's like when they initiate the grab at a distance, rather than just running up to you and just doing the grab at close range. You can actually shoot them, or knife them, and they'll get stunned. And if for whatever reason, if they run up to you and they do the grab at close range, you cannot get that stun at all. And it's so bullshit. You know, when they at least initiate the grab at a distance, the crouch has decent detection. It's when they start running at you and doing the grab at close range that these grabs become very bullshit. That time I got very lucky that the detection didn't screw me, because that hitbox on the close range grab is terrible. Again, that's a long range grab, even though it looks like he's doing it at close range. It's not the close range grab you're thinking of. That's the fucking close range grab I fucking hate. The guy runs so close to me. I know he's going to do the grab, so I crouch. But for some reason, when he does the close range grab, the detection on the grab is completely different. Not to mention, he's pushing you all over the place as he's running towards you, because who the fuck does a running grab at close range? And because he's pushing you around, the chances of you getting grabbed when you shouldn't be grabbed are very high. And when you're in big encounters like the village encounter, and you have enemies doing grabs at close range like this, not to mention there's also the ambiguity as to whether they do the punch or not. At times, like, you can try to time your crouch to get under the grab and it will fail you. And that's going to happen several times when I'm dealing with this guy. See, again, I got lucky. I got very fortunate that the detection didn't screw me, but previously you saw how much the detection fucked me. I didn't stand on anything on the ground, I just got grabbed for no reason. And also during that long-range grab, if you hit them, they get stunned. And this is on Mad Chainsaw mode. And this goes back to my previous video on how the enemies only get stunned during very specific animations, such as when they're in a neutral state of running, or when the pitchfork guys do the running attack. And then also in this case, if the enemies do a long-range grab. But if they do the close-range grab, this will not work for some reason. Again, long-range grab. It's so hard to get them to do the okay. Yeah, again, like, I mean, it looks like simple detection, right? But the problem is, the close-range grab has very different kind of detection. And again, like, how am I getting lucky with the grabs here? I don't understand. And also, a lot of the times, when you're trying to avoid the grabs, you have to move forward while crouching so that you don't get grabbed at the end of the animation. But with the close-range grabs, it's almost like the developers designed it where you have to simply crouch and just not move the left analog stick, because the amount of times they've done the close-range grab, and I've crouched and I've tried to move forward, and they've ended up grabbing me because moving while crouching somehow shifts Leon's hitbox in relation to the close-range grab. I'm just very fortunate he's not doing any of the punches right now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Previously, he was just grabbing me all the time, even when I crouched. But all of a sudden, I'm getting good luck. And I say that, and that happens. You see what I mean? This is why I don't understand why the crouch has to be tailored to grabs. Why is the crouch your only method of avoiding the grabs? They're pushing you around the entire time because you're doing a running grab at close range. And so they push you into obstacles. You can't move out of the way. And also, in the case of the village fights, with like those big open areas, even when there's no obstacles blocking your way, you still get grabbed. That's what was happening all the time in my previous Resident Evil 4 Remake videos, but everyone keeps attributing it to skill issues because they're fucking retarded. And when you're telling me that I'm the one with the skill issue, you're telling me that you're the one who's never coming across these issues when you're trying to use the crouch against the grabs? Can you stop fucking lying? Or actually make comments with a bit more substance to them to actually give me a reason as to why it's supposedly my skill issue. So brain dead the fucking comments are. Just about as brain dead as how the grabs are designed in this game. Long range grab again. I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting the guy to do the close range bullshit. He's just doing all the long range grabs, which is what I need. Because those are the ones that actually have good detection. But most of the time, the enemies never choose... Like that, like right there. That was the close range grab. But for some reason, I'm not getting screwed by the detection. It's so stupid how they don't give a very specific kind of grab animation at close range. He's just doing the running grab animation as a substitute to a close range grab. And when you factor in the number of enemies you'll be dealing with in these encounters, especially in the village encounter, the chances for failure are so high. See that? I crouched right there. My timing was no different, and she somehow grabbed me. What the fuck was any different? That just looks so weird, too. That just looks so fucking gamey. He's just running into me and just doing all these weird angles with his grabs. And I'm just crouching around, like, it looks so fucking dumb. And that's their methodology for getting around the grabs? I can appreciate that methodology, but it didn't look so fucking weird. See that? Again, the fucking close range grab. The detection on that grab is entirely different to their long range grab. I crouch no differently, and he just ends up grabbing me for no reason. Let's see how balanced this game is when the enemies do nothing but this kind of close range garbage with their grabs. This is why I asked the question previously. Why do you bother giving the enemies weapons? They're clearly a lot more bullshit with their attacks when they don't have weapons. So why the fuck do you even give them weapons if this is your idea of what survival horror and good gameplay is? And that time he decided to do the punch. At least when you dismember both arms of a ganado, it will kill it. So imagine if there was a consistent way to get punches all the time. This would be a good way to kill ganados without draining too much of your knife durability or wasting ammo. Just dismembering both of their arms with properly timed deflections, which I do like. But it's just, you can't get them to consistently do the punches. The only time they consistently do punches is when you dismember one of their arms. But the idea of this is cool. Being able to reward skillfully timed deflections to dismember both arms to kill them. Because that punch is incredibly fast. It's probably the hardest attack to deflect in my case. Because it's very fast. Although I don't really know if you have to perfectly time your deflection in order to dismember the limb, or like any time you press L1 within that parry window or block window, it just dismembers the limb. Like, I've never really seen a block animation displayed against the punch animation. It's always been a dismemberment, so that's interesting. And it makes sense if they're talking about enemies being deadlier with weapons than without weapons. I mean, there has to be some kind of weakness to enemies that don't have weapons, and that makes sense for capturing that sense of vulnerability to enemies without weapons, but most of the time the game doesn't emphasize on that. Every single time I go through this game, enemies without weapons are more bullshit and more douchey than enemies with weapons. And it's for entirely poor justifications. Fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Close range grabs are just the fucking worst in this game. There is no possible way I could have used the crouch at that moment. Because they attack you so fast before the crouch even has time to register on your controls. What? That's bullshit. I crouched. I knew she was going to grab me. I crouched prematurely, and she still grabs me. Oh my god, that's why I don't like the grabs again. I mean, the banana grabs that the enemies can do on this game, to just flick around and just grab you at the end of the animation, further invalidates the use of the crouch against the grab, and why the use of the crouch is so badly implemented when dealing with grabs. With this being the sole methodology for actually avoiding grabs, why couldn't they make this mechanic so much better? It's so stupid. Once again, I crouched. I fucking crouched. I crouched at the exact same moment that I always do when I'm about to deal with a grab. But unfortunately, the close range grab's detection is different to the long range grab detection. So even when you crouch, you just get grabbed for no reason at all. Oh, come on, again! I crouch at the same moment that I always do, because I know he's going to do the grab, and I still get punished for no reason. You can't say this is a skill issue. It's just really awkward detection. Because he didn't know how to implement the crouch to avoid grabs during these big encounters like this. And when the enemies just do running grabs at close range, which makes no fucking sense at all. See that? That's like the same timing that I did previously with those other grabs, but I still get grabbed in the process, but this time I didn't get grabbed, so what was any different in those previous attempts? It's the same timing on my crouch, and yet this time I didn't get grabbed. So it's clearly the result of poor detection on the close range grab. It has something to do with Leon's hitbox just sporadically interacting with the grab animation just out of the blue, even when you crouch. This is a very flawed methodology that they have with the grabs on this game. The grabs in Resident Evil 4 Remake make no sense whatsoever. Fucking hell, again! That's the same fucking timing for the crouch, and she still grabs me. Why? What is any different? Is it a timing thing? Is it just awkward hit detection? I mean, what is going on right now? I mean, I don't understand how they designed the grabs on this game, specifically with the close range grabs. Because at times, you can be crouched prematurely, and the enemies will run towards you and try to grab you, but they won't grab you, and then other times they will, like what happened just then, where I crouched early, because I was thinking, oh, even when I crouch, way before he does an attack animation, when he runs over to me to do his grab, he's not going to grab me, as long as I'm moving forward, but this time he did, and then other times it's worked, so like, why is it so fucking ambiguous with the hit detection with that stupid close range grab? Again, you can just see that I did avoid the first part of the grab. And then randomly out of the blue, he just grabs me in the middle of that animation. Like, he missed me initially, but then even when he's not touching me, he just grabs me. It's so fucking stupid. So something happened to Leon's hitbox directly after the enemy got close to me, after the start of his grab animation. Like, something happened in that active frame period that allowed him to recognize Leon's hitbox. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's a big problem with the close range grabs on this game, and there is no counter to this at all. Your best bet is to just simply run away, but when you're in enclosed spaces, or when you have enemies behind you, that's just not an option. You have to rely upon this broken crouch system to avoid these grabs, and you're at the mercy of very ambiguous hit detection. And that time it was working fine until he grabbed me at the end of the animation, but again, like, it's all down to ambiguous hit detection. This time, during the active frame period of that grab, he grabbed me later on, like at the end of the animation, but the previous parts within that active frame data, it was different. Like, I don't understand. Like, why did it take him so long this time to actually grab me compared to the previous part? It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, come on! I mean, seriously, it's just so fucking dumb how they just do a running grab at close range and they're just pushing you into walls and the like. The way I crouched under that grab was apparently good. It's just the ending part where I wasn't able to move at all because he was pushing me the entire time. But, like, previous times, I would have been grabbed way earlier in the animation. And, like, just to give a reference model, like, assume the full grab animation that this guy does, like, specifically with the close range grab, assume that it lasts for, like, 10 frames. This time, I mean, I got past the first 9 frames, but then the last frame, I got grabbed because he pushed me into a wall. But then other times, I might get grabbed at, like, the 3rd frame, or, like, the 5th frame of the animation. Even when I crouch successfully at, like, the same timing. So it just doesn't make sense. Again, I mean, that was just like the 9-frame model again. Okay, so now I'm on standard difficulty. I just want to test a theory out. Is the grabs detection different between standard and Mad Chainsaw mode? Like, I just wonder if the changes that they made to the fundamental parameters of the enemies is leading to broken hitboxes on the close-range grab. It might be that. That's the only thing I can think of from a brain-dead development team like New Capcom. That was the long-range grab, so I can't test that out properly. And that seemed to be the close-range grab. The hitbox didn't look any different. Long-range grab again. This is not gonna work very well, because he's not running at me. Now he is. Nope, it's still the same. It is still exactly the same. There is no sense as to why the hitbox in the close-range grab is broken. And yet the hitbox in the long-range grab works fine. Like, I can't tell if it's the enemy's fault or if it's Leon's fault. Like, I can't tell if it's the enemy's fault in the sense that, like, something about the hitbox on his body as he's moving towards you when he's doing that close-range grab, something about it causes the hitbox to shift downward even when you crouch. Or is it Leon's hitbox, where for some reason the game registers him as standing? Just randomly out of the blue, or like when you're moving forward, something happens to Leon's hitbox. It makes no sense. I don't understand. At least on standard, I can kill myself and just restart at the last checkpoint. Why Mad Chainsaw mode decides to remove checkpoints, I really don't know. I mean, it's not like you're missing much. Like, why do you have to run back? Why do you have to sour the gameplay experience for the player and just making them hate the earlier areas?
No fucking way.
There's no challenge at all to removing checkpoints. It's just a run back. And you're just dying to really stupid reasons, not for justified reasons. Like, let me actually see what happens if I just simply tap circle. Is that a different long-range grab? That one lasted longer, so you could cover more distance. And that was a mistiming, but it just seems like he just grabbed me before he even made contact with me. His hands didn't even touch me before the animation triggered. And that time I did move the analog stick, so like, I just feel like it's better to move the analog stick. It feels like you're not at risk for a bad hitbox, and that was the close range grab. Like, what was any different? What was any different about that detection? That time I managed to avoid the 10 frames within that animation, and I did nothing different at all. I seriously don't get it. And he's not doing the close range grab. Like, what the fuck do you do when they start running at you at close range? And then they initiate the grab. There's just no counter to it. It's so bullshit. Okay, so we're back on Mad Chainsaw mode. So now this guy's grabs are going to be way more douchey. Oh my god, come on. And this is why I don't understand why Leon doesn't have any kind of ability to crouch aim or to, like, crouch attack or something. I mean, if they're going to be doing a running grab at close range, and crouching is supposed to be the primary methodology, why can't Leon knife while crouching? Like Claire can in Resident Evil Revelations 2, or same with Barry. I mean, the thing is that whenever the enemies go into the running grab animation, if you knife them or shoot them, in like the middle part of the animation, like you can't shoot them when they first start the animation for some bizarre reason, because they apparently place the stun data so far into the animation that you have to pretty much hit them slightly after the starter frames of the running grab animation is done. But like, when you're talking about the close range grab, you just have no time to crouch, you have no time to stun the enemy at all because they're that close to you. Like, and even if you try to shoot them or knife them, it will just not work whatsoever. I mean, this game has the most broken grabs I've ever seen in a Resident Evil game. And see, like, when he does the long-range grab, when he gets near Leon, he stops running. But when he does the close-range grab, he's running into Leon, and he just stops his running grab after a set amount of time. Why is it so different? You can tell these are two different grab animations. That's why I'm saying a close-range grab and a long-range grab, because the programming between the two is vastly different. And like I said, during that particular long-range grab, he stopped his animation to finish it once he got near Leon. But that doesn't apply with the close-range grab at all. And that time I bypassed it. Maybe it's the field of view? Maybe it's that. Hang on. Field of view. It couldn't be the field of view. There's no way. If it's the field of view, that's so fucking dumb. Let me actually just put it to its lowest setting. Come on. Every time. That fucking pushing he's doing. Huh. Why did he miss that time? No. It couldn't be the field of view. There's no way. If it's the field of view that's leading to this issue with the grabs... No way. That's impossible. Oh, the camera! Maybe it's the camera! Maybe that's why! Hold on. Why didn't I think of that in the first place? Maybe that's why! Maybe it's because of the camera! Because Resident Evil Village had that same problem as well. If it's the fucking camera... But then again, I mean, the camera wasn't a factor to consider with these enemies. It's like, maybe I have to face the camera down at all times? If it's that, that's so fucking stupid. Oh, never mind. But let me just at least test out the field of view. I just seem to get the dodge on the grab more frequently when my field of view is this low. I don't know what's going on. I can't believe the fucking field of view is what's likely leading to the ambiguous hit detection on the close-range grabs. I don't know how many times I need to keep on restarting this demo before I feel vindicated with the idea that the field of view is likely what is affecting the hitbox in the close-range grab. But I have to restart like so many times in order for this to work, and I am on the lowest field of view setting right now. But why the fuck would the field of view affect the hit detection on a close-range grab? I mean, in Resident Evil Village, the camera could actually affect Ethan's hitbox, allowing him to be hit by attacks that you would normally be able to crouch under. So if you're looking upward while crouched, for some reason, it shifts Ethan's hitbox upward, allowing enemies to hit him for no reason. And this is not a thing in Resident Evil 7. The direction of your camera has no impact on your own hitbox in Resident Evil 7, but in Resident Evil Village, it's a factor to consider. And maybe Resident Evil 4 Remake has inherited this camera issue.
What was that?
And since this demo is taken from the final version of the game, it's gonna have that same problem. I have to hope he does the close range grab though, which he's doing right now. And I got it just then. I knew that was a long range grab. So far I've had success with this low field of view. Now let's change it to high field of view. So like all the way up to max. It doesn't screw with the long-range detection. It didn't screw with it just then. I don't understand. I really need to ask Ether to test this out. I really need that inter-rated reliability. Because if he's getting similar results to me, then I can at least confirm that the camera has an influence over Leon's hitbox with that particular grab animation that the enemies are doing. Again, I am on the highest field of view. I don't get it. I mean, is it just something that happens when Leon is moving before he crouches? See, that time it was different. What? Why was that any different? I don't understand. I mean, with the way I'm angling myself in relation to the villager, maybe that's a factor to consider, and maybe the previous time I was moving into him, but I don't understand. Why would that be a factor to consider? And I'm pretty sure I was getting grabbed just regardless of the angle I was moving in relation to the villager. But let me at least check again with the low field of view. So like, that time he didn't grab me, and my angle wasn't exactly what I normally do in relation to the villagers. How did I bypass that? Why do the grabs make no sense in this game? Yeah, look at that, look at that, look at that. My angle was very different just then. I was moving into him, but my field of view was very low. So does that have an impact on the grab's hit detection, specifically with the close range grab? I don't know. I really don't know. Is it the stance Leon has? Is it the weapon he's holding out? And that time I avoided it. Why? I mean, it seems like it's dependent upon the angle Leon is in relation to the villager. I don't know. It's like, what if I do this? Maybe that's it. But then again, it could also be the field of view that has an impact here. So let's see, if I just stand like this... No, it didn't work. And that time I bypassed it. Why? I mean, yes, my angle was different, but... I mean, why didn't it work previously? It's almost like... It's hard to explain. It's hard to triangulate what the underlying factor is that is governing the close range grab's detection. I mean, first I thought it was the field of view. Then I thought it was the camera, like the direction you were facing with the camera, whether it be up or down. Now it just seems to be the angle Leon is in relation to the villager at a certain point in his grab animation. It just doesn't make any sense. See, like, again, it was the angle just then, but, like, theoretically, if I were to... And that time I couldn't even do it. And, okay, that time it was different. That time it was different for no reason. My angle was the same as before. My timing was the same as before. Now it leads me to believe the field of view is a factor to consider here. It's almost like the field of view, the angle Leon is in relation to the villager, and maybe the timing, it's... Those are the three factors I'm deducing to right now. Okay, well, that time it... Now it's... My field of view was low. My angle was no different. My timing on the crouch was no different. And I still get grabbed. What is causing this fucking detection to be so fucking sporadic? Okay, guys, so I put the game on resolution mode instead of frame rate mode, and I wanted to see if this would likely affect the grabs detection, because the close range grab that the enemies do on this game is very bullshit and just very sporadic in its detection. And my thought was maybe the high frame rate is what's allowing the enemies to have broken hitboxes, and so if I turned it down to resolution mode, maybe this would fix the issue? That was the long range grab. I need the close range grab. I mean, that looked good just then. Long range grab. I can't say for certain that the close range grab is fixed on resolution mode, because for all I know, I'm just getting very lucky, because that was the same case that occurred with the field of view. I turned down my field of view to the lowest setting, and I was getting very consistent hitboxes on the close range grab, and then when I restarted the demo, I was still at a low field of view, and then I got bad detection on the grab, so I don't know. So maybe it's that. Maybe the frame rate is what's allowing the enemies to do that close range grab and still grab me even when I crouch. I mean, the thing is, the close range grab, if we look at it from a reference model of 10 frames, so that the grab entirely lasts for 10 frames, there are just times where I get grabbed at like the end of the animation because he angles his hands down because the game expects you to get out of the way. And then other times, he grabs me so early into the animation. He grabs me on like the second or like fifth frame of the close range grab, and it makes no sense because I've crouched. And my subscribers have said the same thing as well. They've said that the close range grabs that the Ganado do on this game have some of the wonkiest detection ever. The hitboxes are really messed up with the grabs. But maybe it's just related to the frame rate, I don't know. I mean, I originally thought it was related to, like, the field of view, the timing of the crouch, and maybe the position of Leon, like, his angle in relation to the Ganado, but I could never find the primary factor at play. And then I remembered, in certain Resident Evil games, and this also applies to other games, weird things can happen when you actually turn up your frame rate. And of course, by turning up my frame rate, by putting it on frame rate mode, maybe this was leading to moments where the grab was being very bullshit. But I can't say for certain until I've actually taken the time to deal with a couple of enemies that grab me. I really don't know. I can't say for certain that the frame rate is what's leading to this poor detection on the grabs. There's a grabber right there. That was a long range grab. That's not what I need. I gotta say, the game does look really good with the ray tracing on. Definitely looks a lot better than without the ray tracing on, obviously, but the graphics mean absolutely nothing to me. This game is still a really bad game, just based on the demo, and the demo's taken directly from the final version of the game. New Capcom confirmed this, and they wouldn't be putting in a chapter system, where every time you start the demo, it says Chapter 1, and then it's giving you these objectives that you're doing. Like, they would never include that in a demo that is not directly taken from the final game. So because they're putting in those objectives, it means this is taken from the final version of the game. So the issues that I am finding in the demo are going to be present on the final version of the game. It's that simple. End of story. And yet people just want to disagree with me for no reason. Because they don't understand how demos and betas work. The frame rate on the resolution mode is pretty terrible, though. Or maybe it's not the frame rate, it's just the frame pacing. You can really see the micro stutters occurring when you're playing the game in resolution mode, and it's pretty unbearable. It's very subtle, but you can easily spot it. And it's so noticeable that I really wonder if they'll fix that in the final version of the game. And it's when you're out in the open areas, when you're inside of the linear environments, the stutters are not really noticeable. But I'm just amazed the stuttering issue is just the case with the resolution mode. I also find that very dumb as well. Like, Leon, when he does like a sneak attack, or he just does a knife execution from behind, he stabs them in the same area that he stabs them when he's doing the grab escape animation. And yet, for some reason, whenever Leon does the grab escape with a knife, it doesn't kill the enemies. Yet, stabbing the enemies in the same spot with a stealth attack or with a knife execution from behind actually kills them. Once again, new Capcom logic being so illogical. The whole grab escape animation is so stupid anyway, because you take damage before the grab's even begun. So like the moment the animation like starts, like just the first frame it begins, you're already taking damage before the prompt appears to initiate the grab escape. And why the fuck would that be the case? You're completely invalidating the point of the grab escape animation by making the player take damage before the prompt even appears. This is something that Resident Evil 2 Remake didn't have as an issue. Resident Evil 2 Remake allowed you to use defense items before an enemy did damage against you. So why does this game have this problem? I don't understand. Long range grab. Long range grab again. Long range grab. He's not doing the close range grab for some reason. Okay, now he is. Nah, I'm still getting very lucky. I don't think it's the damn it. Yeah, I can't say for certain that the resolution mode is fixing the hitboxes on the grabs, specifically the close range grabs. It could be very ambiguous detection at best. It really doesn't make any sense, just based on the previous footage I've already shown, with how badly designed the grabs are in this game. But without any other enemies to test this on, I can't verify this until the full game releases. So I don't know what to do. Okay, so I've put the game back onto frame rate mode. Let's actually see what the hitboxes on these close range grabs are going to be like. No, you didn't grab me just then. I don't understand. I really don't understand. What is it that is allowing me to not get screwed by that detection? I don't know.